Create and open and import images. Create and open and import images. How to create and how to open and how to import images in Photoshop. Create images. Create image. We have steps here now. Step number 1. You have to choose file, then new image. Yeah, to create. Number 2. In the new dialog box, type a new for the image. Number 3. Optional. Choose a document size from the document type menu. And note and be careful here now again. To create a document with the pixel dimensions, see for a specific device and then click a device central button. Number 4. Set the width and height by choosing a preset from the size menu or entering values in the width and height text boxes. To match the width and height resolution, color mode, and by depth of the new image to that of any open image, choose a file name from the bottom section of the document type menu. And step number 5. Set the resolution, color mode, and bit depth. And if you are copied a selection to the clipboard, the image dimensions, by the way, and resolution are automatically based on the image data. Step number 6. Select a background content option, and we have white. White is meaning fills the background layer with white and the default background color, and background color is meaning fills the background layer with the current background color. Transparent is meaning makes the first layer transparent with no color values, and the resulting document has a single transparent layer as its contents. And other opens the color picker dialog box to select a background color. For more information, see Adobe Color Picker overview. Number 7. Optional. If necessary, click the Advanced button to display more options. And number 8. Optional. Under Advanced, choose a color profile or choose Don't Color Manage this document for pixel aspect ratio and choose a square unless you are using the image for video. And in this case, choose another option to use non-square pixels. Step number 9. When you finish, you can save the setting as a preset by clicking Save Preset, and or you can click OK to open the new file. This is 9 steps now. So what about duplicate an image? Duplicate an image in Photoshop. You can duplicate an entire image, including all layers and layer masks and channels, into available memory without saving to disk. And we have steps again. Step number 1. Open the image. You should open the image you want to duplicate. And step number 2. Choose image, then press duplicate. And step number 3. Enter a name for the duplicated image. Step number 4. If you want to duplicate the image and merge the layers, select duplicate merged layers only. To preserve the layers, make sure this option is deselected. Then press OK. Step number 5, and finally press OK. Click OK. And how to open files. If you want to open files in Photoshop, you can open files using the open command and open recent command, and you can also open files into Photoshop from Adobe Bridge or Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. And when opening certain files, such as Camera Raw and PDF, you specify setting and options in a dialog box before the files completely open in Photoshop. And in addition to still images, Photoshop users can open and edit 3D files and video and image sequence files. And for more information, see Import Video Files and Image Sequences. Note and be careful please here now. Photoshop uses plugin models to open and import many file formats, and if a file format doesn't appear in the open dialog box or in the file import submenu, and you may need to install the formats plugin module. And sometimes Photoshop may not be able to determine the correct format, by the way, for a file. This can happen, for example, because the file has been transferred between two operating systems. Sometimes a transfer between Mac OS and Windows can cause the file format to be mislabeled. In such cases, and you must specify the correct format in which to open the file. And you can retain, where possible, layers and masks and transparency and compound shapes and slices and image maps and editable type when bringing your Illustrator art into Photoshop. And in Illustrator, export the art in the Photoshop PSD file format. And if your Illustrator art contains elements that Photoshop doesn't support, by the way, and the appearance of the artwork is preserved, and but the layers are merged and the artwork is rasterized. How to open a file using the open command. If you'd like to open a file using the open command, what should you do? We have steps here now again. Step number 1. You should choose a file, then open. Then select the name of the file you want to open. And if the file doesn't appear, select the option for showing all files from the files or of type if you use Windows, and or enable Mac OS pop-up menu. Number 3. Click open in some cases and a dialog box appears letting you set format specific options. Note and be careful here again. If a color profile warning message appears, specify whether to use embedded profile as the working space and convert the document color to working space, or reverse the embedded profile. For more information, see color managing import image. And how to open a recently used file. If you'd like to open a recently used file, choose a file, then open recent and select a file from a submenu. Note and be careful to specify the number of files listed in the open recent menu. Change the recent file list contains option in the file and handling preferences. Then choose edit and choose preferences and choose file handling if you use Windows, or Photoshop preferences file handling if you use Mac OS. And how to specify the file format in which to open a file. If a file was saved with an extension that doesn't match its true format, for example, a PSD file saved with a GIF extension or has no extension, Photoshop may not be able to open the file, by the way, and selecting the correct format will allow Photoshop to recognize and open the file. And what should you do? Do one of the following now. If you use Windows, choose File, then Open As, then and select the file you want to open. Then choose the desired format from the Open As pop-up menu, and then click OK. Click Open. And if you use Mac operating system, what should you do? Choose a file, then open and choose all documents from the show pop-up menu, and then select the file you want to open. Then choose the desired file format from the format pop-up menu and click Open. Note again, if the file doesn't open, then the chosen format may not match the file's true format, or the file may be damaged. How to open PDF files. If you'd like to open PDF files in Photoshop, what should you do? Adobe Portable Document Format PDF is a versatile file format that can represent both vector and bitmap data, and it has electronic document search and navigation features. And PDF, by the way, is the primary format for Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Acrobat. And some PDF files contain a single image, and others contain multiple pages and images. And when you open a PDF file in Photoshop, you can choose which pages or images to open and specify rasterization options. And you can also import PDF data using the place command and the paste command and the drag and drop feature. The page or image is placed, by the way, on a separate layer as a smart object. Note and be careful, the following procedure is only for opening generic PDF file in Photoshop, and you don't need to specify options in the import PDF dialog box. And when opening Photoshop PDF files, you should do the following again. Do one of the following, please. If you use Photoshop, choose File, then Open. And if you use Bridge, select the PDF file and choose File and Open with. And Adobe Photoshop, escape to step 3. And step number 2, in the Open dialog box, select the name of the file, then click Open. Step Step number 3. Under select in the import PDF dialog box. Select pages or images depending on what elements of the PDF document you want to import. Step number 4. Click the thumbnail to select the pages or images you want to open. Then shift click to select more than one page or image. And the number of selected items appears under the preview window. And if you are importing images, skip to step 8. Note and be careful please again. Use the thumbnail size menu to adjust the thumbnail view in the preview window and the fit page option. Fit one thumbnail in the preview window and a scroll bar appears if there are multiple items by the way. Step number 5. To give the new document a name, type it in the name text box, and if you are importing more than one page or image multiple documents, open with the page name followed by a number. Step number 6. Under page options, choose from the crop to menu to specify what part of the PDF document to include. Bounding box. Bounding box is meaning crops to the smallest rectangular region that includes all the text and graphics of the page. This option, by the way, eliminates extraneous white space and any document elements outside the trim box. So bounding box will not crop, by the way. Bounding box will not crop actually white space that is part of the background created by the source application. And we have many options. Media box is meaning crops to the original size of the page, and crop box is meaning crops to the clipping region, crop margins of the PDF files, and bleed box is meaning crops to the region specified in the PDF file for accommodating limitations inherent in production processes such as cutting and folding and trimming. And trim box is meaning crops to the region specified for the intended finished size of the page. And art box is meaning crops to the region specified in the PDF file for placing the PDF data into another application. Step number 7. Under image size, enter values if necessary for widths and heights, and to preserve the aspect ratio of the pages are they scaled to fit within the rectangle defined by the width and height values. Select constrain proportions and to scale the page exactly to the width and height values. Deselect constrain proportions. Some distortion might occur when the pages are scaled, by the way, and when more than one page is selected. The width and height text boxes display the maximum width and height values of the selected pages. All pages are rendered, by the way, at their original size if constrain proportions is selected and you don't change the width and height values. And changing the values will scale all pages as they are rasterized. Step number 8. Specify the following options under image size. We have option here now. Resolution. What about resolution? Set the resolution for the new document, and see also about pixel dimensions and printed image resolution. And what about mood? Mood sets the color mood for the new document, and see also color modes. So what about bit depth? Bit depth is meaning sets the bit depth for the new document, and the width and height values plus the resolution determine the final pixel dimension of resulting document. Step number 9. To suppress color profile warning. Select suppress warning, then click OK. The last step. Click OK. So how to open an EBS file? If you'd like to open an EBS file, what should you do? Encapsulated both script EBS can represent both vector and bitmap data and is supported by virtually all graphics, illustration, and page layout programs. The Adobe application that primarily produces both script, by the way, artwork in Adobe Illustrator, and when you open an EBS file containing vector art, it's reiterized. The mathematically defined lines and curves of the vector artwork are converted into the pixels or bytes of a bitmap image. And you can also bring both script artwork into Photoshop using the place command and the paste command and the drag and drop feature. We have step number 1, choose file, then open, and then step number 2, select the file you want to open, and then click OK. Click open. Step number 3, indicate the desired dimensions, resolution, and mode to maintain the same height to width ratio. Then select constrain proportions. And step number 4, to minimize jagged lines at the edges of artwork, select anti-aliased